On Unlimited, here's John to introduce everybody and do his normal greetings for everybody.
It is the Unlimited Show, the best show of the week for comic book fans, man. New comic book day, and we're here to talk to you on one of the coolest community channels you can find here on YouTube, The Comic Core. We are the Comic Core Unlimited crew. JD might be out of costume, but he is representing with us every single Wednesday. Here we are, 7 o'clock Pacific, 10 o'clock Eastern. We are your Wednesday Get It Started Right crew. And down in the basement, downstairs here, we got Jason, Comics Missing.
Hey, what's up?
What's the record of the week?
All right. Well, today we got Hexus. The band is called Hexus. The album is called A Balaam, but they're pretty much like black metal, but mixed with I don't know, they're kind of like a doom a little bit. So a mixture of like really fast and then really slow, or like really slow kind of pacing, but with like black metal riffs at the same time. So it's really a lot of fun dynamics there. JD, real quick, is that a Guardians Reservoir Dog shirt?
Yes, it is.
That's awesome. I need that.
And I got make this for me years ago when the movie first came out.
Oh, dude, that's so sick. I need that.
It was Reservoir Dog style.
Put that on the Comic Core side right now.
It's one of the like 30 or 40 different T-shirt ideas we had.
Oh,
and
so
two of them worked out, and that was it. So
yeah, put that on the Comic Core site so we can all buy it, please.
Yeah, it's all beat up too. It's stained today.
That rules.
Greasy burger.
Big belly burger.
And then
was bad.
We also have JD, our host here on the Comic Core channel. Also, the guy who had a great show on the Golden Guys last night. I tried not to go over with Jason. We tried to go right to the edge of the line there.
Yep. And we did a 5-minute. We said we were going to start 5 minutes after, so you guys can finish up.
That was much appreciated.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, you guys' show was good, and it was great. Golden Guys was a great show last night. We had a lot of good discussion. We were talking about it today, and it's a funny time for the Golden Guys because all three of us are bidding on the auction that we're talking about, and it was all going on, and it's all going on right now as we speak. So each of us are messaging each other back stuff like that throughout the day about other things or some other people. It's just really good. Just a good group. But yeah, I'm here. I'm having a good time. Very excited to talk about tonight's topic. I do not have much. Actually, I don't have a reading list because it's Marvel 1000. That's it. I don't want to talk about it because I'm going to probably watch John later on. And I'm just waiting for King Thor. That's the big one.
So I'm going to shout out the chat here on this awesome Wednesday. We had some tailgaters. I'm already getting made fun of for being late. And, sometimes it's just how we roll on this night. We're getting so many things together, making ready for you guys and doing a fun special new segment tonight involving speculation. And we'll get to that here in a little bit. But Cobra Comics was the first in the chat. Thank you, brother. And Rick was right behind him. Let's see. They had a whole chat going on in there. Dang. And then JP jumped in. He says, I love how it's scheduled for 9:05. We're just building in John's lateness. Thank you. Awesome. Right there. My buddy Old Wolf, we were talking offline earlier. He's doing some serious reorganizing while listening to this. Thank you, buddy. DS Comics, another Golden Guys hanging out in the chat. The immortal Biggie Shack. Thank you, buddy, for coming by. He is current hunt champion, if I'm not mistaken.
He is champion.
Nice. That's awesome.
Champion. He really brought it. I mean,
he did. Yeah, I saw that. I saw that.
My favorite episode
in the offline. It was beautiful.
Even though I lost, it was one of my favorite episodes, hands down.
We got Chris Barrett and Perry Comics in the chat for the Horde, not the Alliance. None of your Alliance World of Warcraft garbage. And we got Sam I Am Comics. Jason's in the chat, so you saw that blue wrench flying through there a little bit.
Hit me.
That's him. I'm assuming that Comic Core chat is probably you, JD, in the chat. It's hard to know. Yeah. If you're ever confused, who is that person in the chat?
If I do it on my phone, it's JD. But if I do it here,
it's really hard to know sometimes. It could be Chad or it could be one of us running a show here on the Comic Core. So it's a tricky thing. But that particular one tonight is our man, JD. And then that's it. I think that's just about everybody. There is some lurking going on in the chat.
Yeah, Barry.
JD mentioned his book for this week. The one he was really focusing on for New Comic Book Day was Marvel 1000, the sort of giant $10 tome for the week. Do you want to talk anything about it at all, JD, or do you want to move on?
You guys can talk about it.
Okay. I've been saving it for last because I know it was such a big read, and I wanted to go through so many other things before that because it was just the size alone. So that's on my back burner. I'm almost to the point where I'm able to read it. So I'll probably read it tomorrow. Hopefully, if not by probably Saturday, will be my next day. But yeah, looking forward to it.
Yeah, Marvel 1000 is the goal.
I know that it is there's something of a cash grab to it. That $10 price tag, the 1,000 number in the title, all that kind of stuff. But it was the book we picked for book club this week. And so at 8 o'clock on my channel, my time, 11 o'clock Eastern, we're going to have Rod the Rican on, and we're going to be breaking it down. So I have read it, the entire thing, cover to cover, and I'm going to give it a very positive review on the show. I'm just going to say that now. I agree with people that are concerned about it as a cash grab, and that I can understand all the concerns. I'm just going to say in a simplest form, it worked for me, and I enjoyed it.
Okay.
Jason, what other books? Oh, sorry, you have a question? Sorry.
Yeah, how did they introduce this new character that apparently it's going to be revealed in the next issue? Is that what's going on out here?
It's not that they're going to be revealed. It's more like that you're going to understand the backstory of who they are, because they are all through this story. And it's almost like they're not introducing a character. They're introducing a mythical object.
Interesting.
And that's one of the things I liked most about it.
Okay. Cool. I'm excited to watch it.
There is a comic book written or authored by Zach Thomas, which is done by Donny Cates, which is called Relay. And it's similar to this current situation in Marvel Comics where they're doing that. It's a great book. I love Relay. It's phenomenal. But when the monolith is there, it's a post-superhero world. And that's the scary part, you know? So I'm like, something I was thinking about with this. I'm like, 2001, Marvel 1000, blah, 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 1001. They could so do this, the right way. They can make a good arc for a while.
Yeah.
Which is what everybody wants, more War of the Realms and stuff like that.
That's I do.
Yeah. I mean,
that's what I want, arcs and arcs only.
I wonder how they're going to introduce all the 2099 stuff that's coming up. And like, who's going to tie into that? Or are they just going to be like, yo, here's this $2.99 book, $2.99 book, $2.99 book? I was kind of hoping there's going to be like an introduction through a certain series that leads to those different series.
I can't think of one that is currently going down that path.
The only one I can kind of think of might be like the Miles Morales Spider-Man, because I think
that's a good book though.
Yeah,
that's actually my new trades that I've been reading. By the way,
nice.
Yeah.
Biggie Shack makes a great comment that he doesn't want to get Marvel 1000 or a $10 book, but he says he'll buy it later. And I would argue that would be my advice for anybody on the fence, like JP is mentioning. It's gonna be just like Detective 1000 or Action 1000. There are going to be so many covers, so many copies. You will find this in those cheap 50% bins. Yeah. I just did it because I wanted a certain cover, and I knew I had to talk about it today.
Yeah, I was told that it's in my polo box, the one I wanted, and it's $7 for me. I know it's $10, but they gave me the 30% from
nice.
Very much for helping them out the other day with some stuff.
Yeah. Is the Marvel 1000 show, John, going to be on your channel, or is it on White Whales?
Yeah, it's going to be on my channel. In about 45 minutes, we'll be talking with Rod, and we'll be breaking that down, which is again a challenging one to break down.
Yeah, I heard every page is a different story.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah, that'll definitely watch it.
I'm definitely going to tune in for sure.
Well, then I'll quickly run through the books I grabbed this week because I'm sure Jason's got a ton. But that was the cover I wanted was the 80s cover with
She-Hulk. So good. I love that cover.
And my LCS pulled this one for me because I asked for it last week thanks to Alec at White Whale Comics. He's like, dude, you should see this. I'm making this art. He's like, I'm making this art graphic for the video.
Yeah. Bring back that She-Hulk. I love that She-Hulk.
And I love that it's got the 80s, spider. It's got the Spider-Man in the black costume. It's got Thor with the full beard and the wings and the helmet. It's got Wolverine in the brown costume. The whole thing I love.
Awesome.
All about it. So I grabbed that one. My LCS didn't get this book last week, so I had to get Second Coming today.
Cool.
I have not laughed so hard reading a comic as I did reading issue 1. So that amount of respect, I was like, I'm getting issue 2 no matter what.
They was great.
It,
yeah,
sure.
That was a good one.
Very, very funny. I'm slowly catching up on Spider-Man Life Story. So my LCS had the latest 2 issues. So I grabbed both of those. I haven't read past the 60s, but I liked the 60s so much. I'm like, okay, I'll just start finding them all. I'm missing the middle ones, 2, 3, and 4. So I'll get 70s, 80s, and 90s at some point. And then for those Venom and Absolute Carnage people, I had to get the Man Wolf cover. Of course, you would all.
Yeah, I thought of it to shut out. Like that's got to be John. I link to you. I'm like, you got to get that.
Dude, as I walked in the shop, I knew they'd already pulled it for me.
I'm like, you got to get that.
I love this Man Wolf cover. 2 awesome. And then I went with the 90s anniversary throwback cover.
The border, cool.
Oh my God, it cracked me up. The whole thing. This is my child. Those bordered comics are definitely my childhood.
Yeah.
So
that's probably the first Carnageized Man Wolf, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
For those that are curious, please read Venom before Absolute Carnage.
Yeah, dude, I agree.
Definitely. I didn't know, and I read Absolute first. It didn't ruin it, but very clearly, this goes first.
Yeah, that does go.
It took me forever to read Absolute Carnage because I got up to the point where it says this happened in Venom. So I was like, all right, let me put this on pause. Go read Venom. Read Venom. And I was like, okay, I'm good. And then kept reading. And then you got to Miles Morales part. Then like it says, it didn't even give an asterisk for Miles Morales tie-in. I was like, okay, well, let me pause here because I know this came out today.
I'm going to go read
Miles Morales. Went there, and I read up to the point of the battle that happened there in Absolute Carnage. And I read them both at the same time. I kept going back and forth. And there are some differences that happened. Yeah, absolutely.
Wow, what a challenge.
Yeah, the Absolute Carnage version was definitely bloodier. You saw Matt Gargan, the Scorpion, get stabbed in Carnage. Didn't happen in Miles Morales. Left that out. And then Carnage, he was crying out for help, once he was getting captured by Carnage and all the other Carnage, acolytes. And then in Miles Morales, they didn't even show that really. And then at the end of Miles Morales, it shows him as like a goofy spider bucktooth Carnage creature. It was so silly looking. But then in the Absolute Carnage one, he looks awesome. Yeah. So I don't know, man.
You know Stegman is going to do it the best, right? You know that Stegman and the Absolute's going to do it the best. So I assumed, and it looks like Sam
talking about. It's Cates and Stegman. This is their thing. This is it. Mm-hmm. This is what they've been. This is what they love.
Yeah.
Together.
I love that you read Venom first. That's just the one takeaway. I loved both books, enjoyed both books, but Venom clearly is the
so funny because in the introduction pages it says to read Absolute Carnage 1 and 2 before you read Miles Morales or Venom, and which I was like, I don't get because they give prior stories of what happens. I totally recommend the opposite.
That's totally wrong. Yeah,
that's wrong. You got to read the Venom to get into Absolute.
Yeah, because the Venom story is they're simultaneous, but at the same time, the Carnage story goes a lot further, and I would rather have gotten those little pieces and then jumped into the run of Carnage. Agreed. So for me, that's what I would recommend.
Did you read Lethal Protectors?
I didn't. I don't want all the side stories. I really don't like all those characters. I don't even like Cletus or Eddie. I just like the symbiotes.
It has John Jameson,
that's what I want.
It gives some background information because if you remember in the Deadpool versus Carnage issue, I was like, okay, well, what Carnage is this? Because he doesn't look like the dragon and dude Carnage symbiote where it's skull and bones. No. It was obviously the Norman Osborn Carnage, but he keeps calling himself Carnage, and he doesn't even realize that he's Norman Osborn.
Right.
And this one, it kind of gives some background information where it was like, okay, well, apparently he thinks that he's Cletus Cassidy, and not Norman Osborn.
Norman is insane.
Yeah. So now I feel like they kind of had to go and retcon that to make it make sense.
Maybe. Yeah.
But I recommend that.
I'm just gonna do Venom and Absolute Carnage, and that's kind of what I'm gonna do to read this event. But I'm only doing it because I was reading Venom and enjoying Venom, and I tried Carnage 1 and I enjoyed it enough. With Stegman, I couldn't say no, so I'm still going on that one.
Lethal Protectors was cool because it shows what happens after John Jameson and Misty Knight were in the car ride home from the Cult of Carnage issue.
They had John Jameson in that?
Yeah. You love John. You got to get it, dude. Yeah, exactly.
So it's a one-shot Lethal Protector?
Yeah. As far as actually, let me check.
Was it today?
Three. So it's 1 of 3.
It was today?
Mm-hmm.
Damn it.
Yeah, and it was cool, but it showed what's her name? I want to say not Scream, but the other
Shriek.
Shriek. Yeah, it showed Shriek, which doesn't make sense because she got ripped in half in the Web of Carnage or Cult of Carnage issue.
Yeah,
when John Jameson saw them in the church.
Yeah.
But this one, she looks more kind of gray skinned, which is she might be like a resurrected zombie. But then they sacrifice her and rip out her spine to resurrect her as Dema Goblin. So not Demo Goblin, it's a female version called Dema Goblin. So that's a new character, first appearance. If you're crazy about that, they made a variant of the last Venom or Carnage issue with her on the cover. That character kind of art on it. So I guess maybe pick up both if you're a speculator, you know what I mean? But
all right. Well, so I went Marvel crazy. I have one more book, but yeah, that's frustrating. So yeah, there's a lot of events going on, and I'm trying to do my best to kind of keep my feet in all the ponds and enjoy a little bit of everything. So of course, my last one was House of X 3. Yeah. Green Gray.
Beautiful cover. Wow.
Which I thought was beautiful.
Dude, can you supersize that? I want to see that.
Yeah. Sorry, JD would have to do that.
I will do that right now.
It's a really great piece. There's several of these with the flowers as the center focus. And I dig it. I don't know who did this. I couldn't recognize the artist. There's no signature that I can see. If anybody knows, let me know. That's awesome.
That's so good.
And I really enjoyed this. I will say it was kind of a tease. The whole thing builds towards a big fight, and then we don't get it.
Right.
But at the same time, I will also say that the previous issue was just one giant fight. And maybe the next one will continue that because it seems like the next one we get is House of X 4. So it'll probably be the continuation of this story. But I still really dug it. I thought that was really cool. So those are all the books I did.
It's funny because like in that issue, they were like, okay, our mission is you have to destroy all the kind of the four kind of corners that's holding on to Mother Mold. And then she'll like drop into the sun and be destroyed. And so Nightcrawler goes in there espionage style and runs into like, some trouble. And then the team ends up docking in the middle of somewhere else. And one of the security guards ends up blowing himself up to, defeat their mission. And their spaceship blows up. So it's like, okay, well, did they fail? Is that a mission failure?
And let me just say, spoiler alert, you kind of gave it away. Like, hopefully everybody plugged their ears if they hadn't read right then. It was a bit of a shocker, a bit of an exciting end to that, but it was also like a lot of build up to an almost no payoff.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed the build up enough that I'm hopeful the next issue, which will be in the same storyline, House of X,
right,
will hopefully continue.
And it was also very informative about like, what the machines or molds are, the different categories, and a lot of other background information of that, and also how I guess cybernetic organisms kind of take over humans and how that is and what level those are.
Yep.
So it's always informative read, always worth picking up. I love this series so much. It's so good.
Totally.
And also they give you the Krakoan alphabet finally, which it's been leaked forever, but I mean this official alphabet is here. They have it all. Yeah. So
you can decode all your previous issues if you don't have the internet.
Totally. Christmas story style, you got your decoder ring. Yeah.
All right. So that's my whole reading list. I guess we're on. Jason, is there anything that I mentioned that you or didn't mention that you picked up and read?
Yeah, dude. Curse the White Knight 2 was really good.
I gave up on that one. I was like, I skimmed it and I was like, it looks like it's a lot in the past. I'm just going to put this back on the shelf. I'm good.
JD, let's zoom out to all us three. I don't have anything to show, It always freaks me out. I see my face like so big. I'm like,
I tried issue 1. I love the original White Knight. I looked at issue 2 and it was like, oh, it's gonna be like Bruce. It's gonna be like old Wayne's and old. I was like, I don't want like turn of the century Batman story.
Yeah, and they definitely throw back to that and go into the journal and what it said prior and how they were a team. Him and like I guess the old school version.
Batman or.
Kind of. I mean, not really. It's more like
it's more like New World, like
the Gaslight stuff. But
yeah, it's almost like the 1802 version or something like that. I don't know, man. But it's interesting take. And Batgirl gets outed in this issue, so Commissioner Gordon is like really pissed at Batman. And then you have that this one chick who's kind of like what's her name? The one that's in charge of all the espionage stuff in DC Comics. I forgot her name.
The Question? You mean like Renee Montoya?
No, not Renee Montoya, but the one that's in charge of stuff. She's usually a chubbier character, and she's in charge of the Suicide Squad.
Oh, Walt.
Amanda
Waters?
Waller. Yeah,
Waller.
but this isn't Amanda Waller though. It's someone else. It has a different name, but it's pretty much the same character. And she tells Batman, because Batman was going to out himself before, and she's like, "That's a bad idea, because if you do that, you're going to have all the criminals that are going to press assault charges. You're going to your stock in your company is going to fall. It's going to tank. Everyone's going to lose their jobs. It's going to be total chaos, and in Gotham City even worse than it already is." And so he's like, "All right, well, maybe I'll hold off." And then, Batgirl gets outed. Commissioner Gordon's like, "Why didn't you out yourself? Instead of my daughter's here paying the price." And you have all that drama. So it's really good. It's totally worth reading. But it's an Elseworlds thing, so I guess it can go on the back burner, wait till it's done, and pick it up and trade, man.
Well, what I loved about the original White Knight is it felt like I guess you could call it an Elseworlds, but it almost was like just right on the line. And I really appreciated the way it was just really kind of like looking at our characters through a bit of a prism. There were only a couple of things that even made it an Elseworld and I feel like rereading it recently for the show with Comic Books NYC and JP. Like, I really appreciated how in depth it was. So clear that Sean knew his characters so damn well. He loved those characters and he knew them so inside and out. It was the heart in that book was intense.
Oh yes, absolutely. I meant to read Action Comics. I totally just didn't even see that, but I read Superman, and that kind of deals with what is it? Those guys, those heroes from year 3000 or whatever in the future.
I don't know.
Oh man, what are they called?
I'm not a Superman guy, so I will say I am very limited in my Superman.
Like the new series Bendis is writing coming up, so of course he's pitching into this, and Jonathan Kent is going to be a new member at the end of that. But he pitched almost like he's doing like this is called like the Unity Saga Part 1, and it was like kind of unite the House of L, even with like Zod and stuff, even though they would never do that. But here they are being, united for the greater good. So it's pretty dumb. Like after I read it, I was like, this sucks. Yeah. Great art though. Great art. It's awesome. And it's cool seeing like, this future heroes come into the past and help them out to lead into the new Bendis series, which I'm probably not going to read. But so it's I don't know. I wouldn't recommend it, but the art is cool. Detective Comics was fun. It's a part 2 to the Deadshot storyline where they had a plane crash, and I guess on this island he runs into these old vets. They're from like World War II. It's like Japanese pilot and an American pilot, and they crashed and fought long ago, and they wasted all their bullets and ammo. Then eventually became friends because they had nowhere else to go. And so like there's always like CEOs that are crashed on this island, and Deadshot's I guess scooping them up to make money off of them, and Bruce Wayne runs into them, gets their backstory and stuff, and he pretty much made like a makeshift Batman outfit that looks like a World War II Batman. So it's a pretty cool outfit. I don't know, it's pretty neat. I think it's kind of dumb that he made it like last minute. It's like he's like, I got to go and help, and then he like has time to make the help. So I don't know. It's dumb little loopholes like that, but yeah, it's fun fiction. Tomasi Batman. It's almost like classic Batman or something. It's a good time, and I'd recommend it. But it's not really important to anything big like Justice League. Justice League is tying in all this Year of the Villain stuff. They're like the head of it, pretty much of what's going on. And it was good. I really enjoyed Justice League. It was the most wordy comic I read today. It took me like half an hour or like 40 minutes to read Justice League. It was just so dialogue heavy.
Wait till you get to Marvel 1000.
Oh my God! See, that's why I didn't read History of the Marvel Universe issue 2 last week, because I knew like the first one took me like 3 days to finish. So.
I might need new glasses after reading Marvel 1000. Right? It's possible my prescription has been altered.
Flash 77 was cool. And the last issue they introduced, or they brought back in the Black Flash, which is almost like the personification of death. He just hunts down everything. He's like the Black Racer, pretty much. And so this one, or last issue, it ended up with him capturing Steadfast and sucking out his life force. And in this issue, he's still alive. Flash got him away, and they made a plan with the Wally West Flash and someone else, and they kind of like separated. So Wally West Flash and his other friend went try to capture some criminals that are going on in the city. Meanwhile, Barry is left to deal with all the other forces because the Black Flash is hunting down all the other forces that are in DC Comics now, to, I guess, the Black Flash wants to exterminate these other forces, and Wally wants to keep these people alive. So the person that's ahead of Sage Force and all these other forces, they kind of team up. And there's one jerk that's a part of them. He's still like a criminal, but you know, they're all in different countries, and so he totally screws them over at the end and have them fight each other. So, and the next issue,
I mean, I read year one, and then I was like, you know what, I need to cut. So I'm gonna cut, like,
I agree. I would have too.
Is it a better move to like?
This is better than year one. It's more exciting for sure, and also Captain Cold is getting together his squad again with new Luther technology. So it's a little more exciting for sure. I thought year one was a drop off after like issue 2.
Well, and I enjoyed year one. I didn't love it. So, and I'm instead what I've been doing is reading Rebirth, where, you know,
dude,
Williamson
that's
stuff.
Awesome. Yeah. And
so I've kind of like said, you know, I'm going to put my money in that. Just like with Ascender, I enjoyed it, but I'm putting my money into Descender, the trades instead. So like, I enjoy it, but I want to go to the root a little bit.
For sure. Yeah, dude, criminal. Exactly, dude. Invest in criminal.
Dude. I'm talking to two guys right there.
Dude, JD, did you read the last issue of Criminal? The most recent one?
The last issue.
It was last week, I think.
Yeah, last week.
I did not get that one yet.
Oh, dude, it shows him as a kid. Like, it's so good.
No,
so good. Justice League Dark was awesome too. They pretty much assembled the I guess anti-Justice League Dark or whatever, Cersei. And I guess at the end they revealed that they're gonna raise or bring back Eclipso, which is like the evil version of the Spectre. So I think he was a previous version or the original version of Spectre, and he turned evil. So it's gonna be really cool. We haven't seen him in DC for a while, so I'm excited to see how they bring him in and what he looks like and stuff. His new design, hopefully. So that's pretty exciting. So that's all the DC stuff I read. We went over all the Carnage stuff today for Marvel. That was good. I was reading Avengers right before, and that's pretty much like the Robert Race's car. They tried to do an exorcism for it, and it got out. So it's like, you know, Avengers Tower, or not the Avengers Tower, but like their Sentinel base is like haunted pretty much, and they're just trying to control it. And meanwhile, Robbie Reyes is in hell racing Johnny Blaze. So I didn't get it finished. I got halfway through, and it seems
this is Jason Aaron, right? He's still doing Avengers, right? Yeah,
totally. Yeah. I think he's doing a pretty good job. It's fun. It's a little light, you know, but he's bringing back old classic stuff that we like Damon Hellstrom. You know, he's in this issue, he's in the last issue. I love that stuff too. It's so cool to see him again. So
Satan.
Yeah, Son of Satan. Yeah, dude. So that was really cool. I like that guy. Trying to see. House of X went over that. That was cool. Marvel 1000. That's pretty much all I read. Yeah, Venom. Oh, I read Knights Temporal. That's a Cullen Bunn.
That's not in. What is that? Boom.
That is Aftershock.
Aftershock.
Yeah, and that's really cool too. First issue was really good, and this issue, the art is amazing. I really enjoyed the art and the panel layouts. I highly recommend it. But the main character, it seems like he's losing his memory each time he time travels somewhere, and he's kind of doing whatever this like pixie lady tells him to. And at the end of the first issue, you kind of got that she might be a bad guy, and he's doing some like research in the library, and you ask like some woman to help him out because he wants to do research, and then he blanked, forgot he was doing. So apparently the pixie lady doesn't want him to know anything. So he asked someone else. There's like, hey, here's like $200 or whatever, like a couple $100, like, can you do research for me? It's like, yeah, sure. So she's like, research this name and all variations of it. And he's like, okay, you saw like a cowboy history, like a medieval history, like a Bonnie and Clyde history, you know, all these different versions of himself and like this pixie lady. And apparently every version he finds, they were like known as like killers and slaughterers of just people for no reason. And so he's like, understand he might be evil. And he's been trying to chase this wizard the whole time. She's like, oh yeah, he's in the next dimension. He's in the next dimension. And he always forgets like why he's there, what he's doing. He just knows he's trying to find this wizard that like killed his friends or family or whatever, like back in the medieval times. And so then it goes to like some other time and it's the wizard, and he opens up the door and it's like his future self. And he's like jailed up, and he's like, you promised that you would kill me for all the horrible things I did. Like, can you please kill me now? He's like, yes, like we can make that happen. So and then it ends. So you're like, okay, well, like, wow, where's this going to go? What's going to happen?
Wow.
It's a fun trip through time.
That's cool though.
I highly recommend it.
And I want to say I heard either Perry or Rod or one of the guys on the Buyer Pass show talking about enjoying it. So I'm definitely curious about it for sure.
The last issue of Bone Parish came out today, and I really want to read that. I thought it was a great series. Yeah, exactly. And then also his other one, Man or Black, issue 2 came out today, and I did not get to read that. So
he said he had 3 books on his thing today. He said 3 books.
Yeah, it's a big paycheck. He's like, yo, we're getting paid today.
All right, let me shout out some folks in the chat that have come in. We had Comic Books NYC came by. Thank you for joining us, Kavi. Much appreciated, man. We had Horror Digest came by. Much appreciated, buddy. Let's see here. I know I saw Perry lurking in the chat, and Just a Rican and his comics came by. Rod, thank you for coming. It sounds like Rod is already not enjoying Marvel 1000. We'll see if his review and mine can collide. Oh, boy. Brandon Stawinski, my buddy, is in the chat. Good to see you. Comic Man Andy, he came by and he mentioned hit the like button. We really appreciate that, of course.
Thank you.
And let's see, did I miss anybody? I think that was just about everybody. It's not over, Jason Smith. We're about to jump into a cool, exciting new segment for the Unlimited show. We wanted to do something concerning speculation, but more speculation done our way. We're not big speculators. We're not out there trying to flip books and do all these things, but we do tend to read a ton. And so we tend to have books that we feel like are maybe undervalued or underappreciated. And with all the news from Disney and all the news that is coming out lately, there are definitely books out there that are ripe, I think, for going up, especially if you already like that character and you're looking anyways. Maybe these books are something that you would add to a list. And these are books, in the case of the 2 that I'm going to mention, that I own, and some cases I own a couple of copies of because I really enjoy them. And if they do go up, I want to keep one. I'm going to keep these books because I enjoy the stories and I enjoy what's happening. And if I'm able to make a little money and then buy the next book that I want, then it's all good all around, right? So for me, this spec deck or whatever that we're talking about here, the unlimited speculation show that we're adding, I want to highlight 2 comics involving upcoming Marvel TV series. The first one I think is still incredibly cheap, which I know that they're going to utilize in some fashion, is this book right here.
Oh, yeah.
The new Vision Scarlet Witch show is clearly, based on the photo that they released recently, is definitely drawing from this Tom King run as source material. And I think you're going to see as that show comes around and as more information comes around, this is a run that's going to go up. On top of which, I think it's a great read. It's just amazing. Absolutely entertaining.
Yeah. This is this is the first time in a long time we're going to say this. Thank you, Tom King, for that.
Vision and Mr. Miracle are peak Tom King. Like,
right?
Even like Omega Man and Nightwing, people praise it. I think most Tom King is mediocre to trash. And these 2 are amazing. So read Vision, read Mr. Miracle.
There's been 3 Vision / Scarlet Witch miniseries, and I count this not because Scarlet Witch is in it prominently, but because he uses her brain as the basis for the wife that he builds. And I wouldn't be surprised to see this new TV series sort of gender swap that, where we see Scarlet Witch sort of using her abilities to create a version of the Vision.
Yes.
To make her happy and create her suburban house life.
Yeah, it's going to be a very House of M kind of mind control thing where she makes a whole entire new scenario. Even when they came out on stage, they had like almost old 1950s like Dick Van Dyke Bewitched kind of music playing. So you knew, and then those that one picture that they've been posted that's been posted looks exactly like the old school 1950s Vision. Definitely. Even the logo now matches that kind of aesthetic and feel. So people are like, why did they pick that logo? WandaVision. And now it fits. It fits perfectly.
So I feel like this is undervalued. I do feel like this book can be found super cheap, even though this is a low print run. In general, issues 2, 3, 4, 5, some really low print runs on this run. So some of the issues are hard to find. It took me a while to collect my run of all 12. And in that time, I ended up snagging a couple extra copies of issue 1 because I knew that eventually this is going to be valuable. On top of which, my buddy Whitewell Comics is a big fan of Viv Vision, who has gone on to be very popular. And this is her first appearance in this issue and could potentially be a character that pops up in this WandaVision storyline.
Sure, that'd be cool. That'd be interesting. Yeah. You never know.
I think undervalued. If you're interested in Tom King's writing or you're interested in these characters, it's definitely something to keep an eye out for. You could get it for a steal, and this book could rise.
Mm-hmm.
The other one, I'm going to let JD share here in a second because we're going to talk about it together. We both mentioned the same book when it came to doing this idea. Everybody's talking She-Hulk right now. Savage She-Hulk, that book is skyrocketing. JD will show his copy in a second. Mine's buried in a box. I think it's a great book. It still has a little bit of room to grow, but it's not the book I'm going to mention because I think it's that book is hot. I'm going to say
it's right now on fire right now. It's just ridiculous.
I'm going to say the underrated book when it comes to this character, the one that will more than likely appear on a She-Hulk TV show, is the sensational She-Hulk. The storyline that is JD's holding up a couple of the books for. I think this is a really underrated run.
Awesome.
And
Love
more
that
than
cover.
likely the lawyer, Jen, the Hulk, she is going to be the character that we get on this show, way more likely than the Savage version.
Mm-hmm.
I would say keep an eye out for some of those sensation books.
Recent sales on this have climbed. This particular one have climbed dramatically because I think there's a little bit of a backlash. I think somebody said about the John Byrne lovely artwork and everything else. There's another one. I kind of think it was a phenomenal tribute to Demi Moore. That's another one.
Oh, yeah.
And number 60 in that run, they look identical except one has a copy of 60 in it as well. You need 1 in 60. One is pretty common and is going for pretty good. Not great.
Again, it's not a book that I think is. I'm trying to pick books that I don't think are super expensive. And if you're interested in She-Hulk or you're interested in Vision, these books have more room.
I wouldn't buy a graded one. I'd probably buy a raw 1 and 2 you can find in the wild because there's plenty of them out there. The harder one is the last one, number 60, because that's the lowest print run they did of that whole series because it got canceled. But it's a great cover, and it's John Byrne, and it's good. So.
Yeah, and so for me, those are the 2 books that I'm going to recommend this week. You can look forward to this segment every single week. I'm going to throw it over to JD because he's got a ton of great books that he views as undervalued. But those are the 2 for me. JD, what do you got? Oh, I want to shout out to TJ's in the chat. Thank you for coming by.
Thank you.
Some people talking about Viv Vision and talking about possibilities for that storyline. Immortal Biggie Shack is saying that there's a lot better choices for the cost of sensational versus Savage. Totally. And I own the first, I think 6 issues of Savage She-Hulk. I'm not going to keep all of them. I think all of them have a little value, especially 2, 3, 4, and 5, I think are still underrated considering they're the first few appearances of that character. There's definitely room on all of those, but I think there's more room to grow on the sensational side.
Biggie Shack also brought up in the chat that the House of Secrets facsimile came out today. So that's a must buy. If you're buying the facsimiles, buy that. Yeah, for sure.
Or go to JD's house. He's got all of them.
Yeah, originals.
Yeah. Well,
Alec in the White House in the chat saying we got to call him in for a spec. When would you spec?
Bring him in.
And
Send him the link.
No, we can't. I'm going to throw him the link here in a couple of minutes to join my show.
This is good book. I was talking about Jane Foster. I've been thinking about this one for a while, and I know this is the book that has absolutely skyrocketed. And I'm not saying rightfully so or not. I'm saying, wow, this is ridiculous. It's abuse.
I'm going to say it's wrong.
It's Buscema doing like a 80 Journey to Mystery 83.
I'm going to say I love the book. I love What If. I've got plenty of what ifs. Yeah. I just don't think it's the first appearance of that character. It's the first appearance of a different character. And
everybody I hear it says Thordis on the cover.
Yeah. It literally calls her by a different name in that comic.
Yep. And then the spec ones, this is almost a $200 to $300 going 9/8 right now.
Yeah.
Great. You can find these everywhere.
Yeah.
Everywhere. Now, the harder one is the same panel that's in here, first appearance.
Yep.
Is in God of Thunder 25. And you find this book, which is the variant. I think it's the 1 in 50 variant, which isn't the better looking. I think it's great. I think it's good. But
listen to this guy. He's saying the same thing I've been saying on show after show after show on my starting line. Yes, God of Thunder 25. I've got 2 different covers for that book.
God of Thunder 25. That was the one that I was saying that if you want to go with this route, it's there. If you're a spec person, buying the rumors, selling the trailer, everything like that, you have 3 choices, and there's a argument about number 8 in that series because it's the first time just revealed as
the reveal, yeah, which I still need to get.
Here we go. It's like another one of these.
Yeah.
Another
aren't there a lot of covers for the issue 8 too? There's like a Amazing Spider-Man 300 variant where she's like in the circle and jumping just like Amazing Spider-Man 300, and there's a lot of variants in that issue 8.
Yeah, and 7, yes. 7, I think. One of the cool things is also, now we're up there, is Whitman is coming. Jon Snow.
Oh, yeah.
Whitman is coming. Well, here he is.
That's funny.
Okay, now this is another Avengers book that we're talking. We're running into bronze. We're still in Silver Age here. This was really easy to find all over the place, and now I just think I probably took it for granted that I just said that's a great George Tuska cover. He goes back away. It's just different. It's very in your face, kind of a different approach for an Avengers with a character that you never saw before. Really good. Now that's a hard one. I wanted to bring up Marvel Superheroes. I think it's number. Let me just check right here. Marvel Superheroes number 17. It's the origin of the Black Knight. You can find that pretty reasonable still, but it's just one of those. It's the one just before the first Guardians of the Galaxy, which I was gonna get on to somebody who's gonna show up.
I love Brandon Stawinski's comment. I don't know if you saw it, where he says X-Men Annual 9 showed Storm picking up Stormbreaker before Jane Foster picked up Mjolnir, as far as and did it in continuity. I love that cover. I love that storyline. I still haven't snagged one yet, but it's a great, great book.
Very good.
Good call.
And we just talked about the Guardians of the Galaxy. How was going into the whole Thor and everything else like that.
Right.
There's somebody out there that is destined to be shown up, and it's Starhawk. Starhawk is a major cosmic character in the whole line, who I know his first appearance is in a Defenders, and that's another one that people are talking about. And Defenders has one really over. This was out there. This is very expensive now. This is skyrocketed again. There's a lot of talk about this because Hulk's still around, Doctor Strange, and they want to introduce Namor. And what a better way to introduce Silver Surfer is you go from storyline to storyline to storyline.
Yeah.
But you can still find these at a reasonable price. There's a difference. Marvel Feature is the Defenders. It's like like the Iron Fist and the first Iron Fist number 1. This is like Defenders number 1. But this is when it really begins. I know it begins in all the other ones, but this is a brand new storyline, and it changes everything. You go 1 to 2, you get the Silver Surfer in there. It gets really good. It kind of ties in a lot of other books much earlier, from 2 years before.
Sure.
Mariners 34, 35. It goes back to it's just really good, and this is the better of the books to read.
Well, I think that Defenders run has always sort of been notoriously undervalued.
Yeah,
I think because it didn't have like those huge key first appearances, it was underappreciated, undervalued, and I think you're totally right. It's a great gem.
It was I'm blaspheming here when I say this, but when Avengers Defenders, the run was going on, They were going up against each other. So Avengers was in like 118 and Defenders was in like 10 and 11 and 12. And they kept going back and forth in the comics. It was like the major arc at the time. And this is in this 1973, right? So this is early, like an arc going on between two comics. And Defenders versus Avengers was going on. And during that entire run, if you really think of it, if you ever get a chance to read any of it, you realize that it was just this dawn of what was happening for years to come in all the other books. It was so much, it was so much. But the individual books, Defenders was better than Avengers.
Defenders especially for obviously if you're just straight up reading and you're not looking about
first reading that,
you just want to read it. I totally agree with that. I'm gonna jump out. I got to set up the next show. For those that haven't seen this going on, we're going to be trying to include this sort of spec review discussion every single week. Feel free to drop us a comment. If there's a book that you feel like nobody's talking about this one needs to go up. Obviously, everybody's talking about Moon Knight's first appearance. I still think there's a whole lot of undervalued Moon Knight out there to be found beyond that first issue. So we're trying to do those sort of underappreciated, undervalued books each week. On you kind of tune in and know that right around 7:30 my time, 10:30 Eastern, we're going to be throwing up some of those books for you. Oh, great book.
Well,
Who is that guy?
Well, first I want to say there's Excalibur, Black Knight, Darkhawk, Nova, those guys, and also Devil and Dinosaur and they're all Moon Girl, and also White Whale brought out America is also another great one. But this one,
I'm gonna leave. You guys can definitely keep rocking and rolling. I'm gonna go. Thanks, guys.
Great job,
yeah, John.
I don't know how the hell you.
This one is Brian Michael Bendis' Avengers #1 variant cover. People were specking on Ronin, and Ronin is on a bunch of covers. First appearance. This is a mistake. This is what Ronin was supposed to look like, and you can still find this for very cheap. And I doubt it's going to be worth anything. But I'm going to pick one up sometime soon because it's such a weird thing because that character is not in the new Avengers whatsoever. So that's a fun little.
I've heard about that book. But
that's a fun little pickup. I also want to recommend Gideon Falls #1. This is the Virgin variant cover edition. There's a couple other different covers too for #1. And Gideon Falls got picked up to be a TV show sometime soon. So I'm very excited for that. I would definitely recommend that. And also Jonathan Hickman's Black Monday Murders is going to finish up. He's going to complete the story arc. And so this is #1, issue #1. And I feel like it could very easily be a TV show or movie, even though it hasn't been optioned for anything. I could barely see that happening on like a True Detective HBO kind of show. And it would be pretty easy to do. It's a mixture of stock market stuff mixed with cults, sigil, magic, weird stuff. It's awesome. It's my favorite storyline ever. But those are my little recommends there.
I'm going to throw out my last one, which I've thrown out before, and I'm not giving up on this one. It's Robert Kirkman. Many moons. It's a really good one. Okay. It's a really good story. It's kind of different. It's not a zombie related thing. It's very, I can't even explain it really because you have to read it to what thievery really is. You think Italian Job is good. This thing.
Oh, nice. Cool.
I think this is most. So.
TJ says to check your Instagram message. Yeah, you're good now. TJ says to check your Instagram, so do that, DJ. JD.
Instagram.
Yeah, check Instagram. Hey, what's up, Chaos and Comics? Chris Barrett, thank you for joining us. Aggressively Relaxing puts out some great call video reviews. They're awesome. Everyone go check out Aggressively Relaxing. Old Wolf, thank you so much for joining us. Brandon Stuminski, always good to see you, homie. Brandon Stuminski and I have talked about doing a whole entire Gideon Falls chat or kind of series. We're both really into that series, so that'd be kind of fun to do. We talk about that more. So Everyone, make sure to check out John's Comic with Kids and White Whale's review of Marvel 1000. That's coming up real soon in about 4 minutes. So we're all going to go to John's Comics with Kids channel.
Yep. One of the things TJ brought up was just what I mentioned Korvac, and he said it's skyrocketing in value. It is. It's Giant Size Defenders 3. It's a used to be an easy book to find. It slowly got. It's like my, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, I was saying about Fantastic 4 years ago, Fantastic Four. About 2 years ago, I first started doing the Giant Size Defenders, and I never got one. But it's funny. Giant Size Defenders 3 first appearance of Corp. Yeah, I have like so many Defenders that I never got that one. I think I did or something. I don't know because I have so many Defenders.
Oh no!
And Korvac really, honestly, is not one of my favorites.
Yeah. Well, good to know though.
Did I freeze again?
That's what it's about. Hopefully we can. Oh, you're good. You're good. You're good. Yeah. I mean, hopefully we can give some more cool speculation things like that in the future. That's going to be our plan. So we're going to try to make that happen. A lot of underrated stuff out there.
There's a lot of information we didn't talk about from D23.
Oh yeah. I feel like everyone knows about that stuff. Yeah. Everyone's buying She-Hulk and yeah.
Yeah. Everybody's buying She-Hulk, and we're going to get into some
Moon Knight. Yeah.
Yep. And Blade.
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody. I wanted to say one thing. So I'm going to find it right now. The all-time high price for a Bronze Age book, I believe, is where I'm going to give you the information right now. It's in 6 minutes. It ends. It is a 9.9. Tomb of Dracula 10.
Whoa.
Blade first appearance, $74,000.
Wow.
Now,
I believe it. A 9.9 is like unheard of.
9.9 of a book,
Wow.
but a 0.9 straight up.
That's incredible.
And a very nice Wonder Woman 1 is about to end for $75,000.
We should start showing stuff we're like looking at on eBay, sometime in the future. It'd be kind of fun.
Link, and I've been watching that. Sometime I'm watching a few items.
Nice.
Beautiful Starlight Comics went.
Yeah, JP brings up, how does that exist? A 9.9, like what? That's unheard of.
It's a 9.9 Tomb of Dracula. I wish I could share the link.
That is ridiculous.
It is a 9.9 mint. It's got some gold stuff over it. White pages, obviously. It is. And it looks like, I don't know. It looks like a 9.8 to me. I don't know.
It's like you had to pull a splash page. I honestly think, or he got his old books and then he like vacuum sealed them, took out all the air and stored them away for like 30 years and brings them back out. Like that has to be like one of those like rare cases of like extreme collecting. So cool.
Yep. Very, 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 very cool. Yeah, it was Tomb of Dracula about to end in 6 minutes here. So, and that was about it. And by the way, you want to talk about SPEC? If you really want to know what that's going to do, that's of all the Tomb of Draculas. I mean, I was going to talk about Tomb of Dracula 1, to be honest with you, saying if it goes for what I think it's going to go for, which was, I thought $50,000 or something even higher than, I mean, higher than the Werewolf by Night, I said. And somebody said no way, and it went to 74,000 is where it is with 5 minutes to go.
Wow.
I was saying that Tomb of Dracula 1 is one of those that it's a little more pricey than all the other second options or whatever you want to call it. I know it's not a first appearance. It is. It's a lot of first appearances, but nobody who we have seen or heard of being in any movies because they're all in movies.
Yeah.
But it's just really cool. It's just it's a great read. It's Neil Adams cover, and it's a that I think is undervalued of the Bronze Age. If you want to know what's getting hot right now, if you can't read the writing on the wall, it's Bronze Age.
Yeah,
anything is just skyrocketing.
I would also like suggest like Vampirella #1, because that's never been like a movie or TV show, Or like, I mean, Red Sonja's been done before, but it's only a matter of time before they bring it back.
A few movies with Barella, but they're usually not shown in movie theaters.
Yeah.
On the internet.
Nice.
I've seen a few.
Very good. Well, what do you think? Should we wrap up? Should we say
Yeah.
I want to go to
Best
John's
way.
Comics with Kids channel next?
Everybody, yep. We go to John's Comics with Kids and enjoy talking Marvel 1000.
See you guys next
Have a
week.
great. Thanks for joining us, everybody in the chat. I really appreciate you. Have a good one.
See you guys.